Hello, board gamers, and welcome to a rundown of The Resistance Avalon, a social deduction game and a spin-off of The Resistance. This is a King Arthur-themed variant with additional roles to the original game. Like other deductive reasoning party games, Avalon relies on certain players attempting to disrupt the larger group working together, while the rest of the players work to reveal the spy working against them. Let's get into the rules.
Hello everybody and welcome to Shut Up and Sit Down teaches The Resistance Avalon. Now, there are a lot of werewolves alike out there on shop shelves, like even the original Resistance or Werewolf or Ultimate Werewolf, but this box is the one that we recommend the most. Now, in this game, you and a bunch of your friends are all going to be Arthurian knights going on fabulous quests together. But here's the thing, some of you are going to be evil traitors. Now, the evil guys need to sabotage missions, and the good guys need to figure out who the traitors are, or all will be lost. Before you start a game of Resistance, be sure that you've found the correct player sheet for the amount of players you've got, and you follow the setup instructions for how many people are around the table. Now, this is the important bit. You're going to take all of your roll cards, which will be, we're going to do this as a game of 7 people. So, you're going to have a team of 4 good guys for 7 players. Obviously, the manual tells you exactly what roles you're going to need, but basically, you've got a bunch of generic good guys and also Merlin. He's a special man. More on him later. And with these roles, you're going to shuffle them together with the evil team, one of which will be the assassin. They're awful. They're really bad. More on that later. And you're going to shuffle this deck up so no one knows what team anyone is going to end up on, and then deal one of these to every player, including yourself, obviously. And what follows now is a ridiculous bit of pageantry in the Resistance where the evil guys find each other. So everybody closes your eyes, and you as the person who owned the game are going to have to walk your friend through this. I'm going to keep my eyes closed so we're like kindred spirits. And you're going to say, everybody put your hands into the middle as we take our nightly vows. Now, minions of Mordred, meaning the evil team, open your eyes. And the bad team, because everyone's looked at their cards at this point, in case it's not clear, are going to look around the table, and they're all going to see who their evil friends are. And then the minions of Mordred are going to close their eyes. You're going to say, close your eyes again. Then you're going to say, minions of Mordred, put your thumbs up. And then you're going to say, Merlin, open your eyes. So at that point, Merlin gets to see who all the evil guys are, but the evil guys don't know who Merlin is. Merlin, of course, is on the good team, in case you've forgotten that. And then you're going to say, everyone close your eyes, everyone put your thumbs down, everyone open your eyes. And then all your friends are going to burst into nervous giggling because there'll be unbelievable tension at that point, and it won't stop until this game ends. So here's how you actually play a game of the Resistance. One player, chosen randomly, is going to be the leader, the king of your particular round table. And this is going to get passed around. Just ask your friends who feels the most kingly and give it to that player. Now, the leader has to pick a team from all the players around the table for who to go on quests. And this is why this sheet is very important, because this sheet shows how many players you're going to send on each quest, and that changes depending on how many players you're playing the Resistance Avalon with. So in our 7-player game, we can see that in this first round, we need to send 2 people. So the leader has to select 2 people. Now, the leader might say, I'm going to send myself because I know I'm trustworthy, and I'm going to send you. And actually, this is a phase of the Resistance which is going to see a lot of talking, a lot of discussion. Most of the Resistance is just arguing and trying to convince people on your side. But initially, don't worry if you don't know what to do, because you'll get more evidence of who's on whose side later. So the leader is going to suggest a team, and then everyone is going to pick up their voting tokens. Mine are completely battered because they're so full of love. Not full of love, that's weird. They've just been loves. That's also kind of a weird term. Anyway, everyone is going to select their vote and whether they approve or disapprove of this team that the leader has put forward. Everyone will simultaneously select something, and then you'll all reveal at the same time. So you get to see exactly which of your friends approved or didn't approve the mission. If you get a majority, so for our 7-player game, if 4 people approve the mission, it goes ahead. But first we're going to cover what happens if it doesn't go ahead, if you get a majority of rejects. The first thing you do is you're going to move the voting track here along to the next one. And if you ever get 5 failed suggested teams, the evil guys just win and the game ends. But that's very rare. Also, as a consequence of the leader's team being rejected, the crown passes clockwise around the table. So then it would be the job of the player on the king's left to suggest a new team, and the process would begin again. Eventually, though, you'll get a team that everyone agrees on for one reason or another, maybe because there's treachery, and the two people that do go on the team will receive one of these pass and one of these fail cards. Each of these guys will shuffle the cards up, whether it's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 players, and they will select the card. Now, people who are the good guys, so Merlin and the loyal blue cards, have to select success cards, and they'll put those face down in the middle. The bad guys can actually put down success or fail cards, and the reason that's relevant will come in a minute. So these 2 cards go in the middle, and then they get shuffled up, and it's very important you shuffle these a lot or the entire game breaks, and then you reveal them. We've got a success and a fail. Oh my god! What that means is that someone on this team is a minion of Mordred, but no one knows who, because remember, those cards are shuffled. So then what we would do is we would move this on to round 2, and also that first quest would get a fail token. Now the first team to get 3, whether it's success or fail tokens, will win the game. So obviously it's tough for the good guys because they need to get nothing but success cards, but it's tough for the bad guys because every time they fail a mission, that team will become less and less trustworthy. And don't forget, somewhere around the table is Merlin, who knows who the bad guys are. So this would be a good point to tell you, well, why doesn't Merlin just announce who they are? There's 2 reasons for that. First of all, nothing stops any of the evil team from going, I'm Merlin, and anyway. But the real reason that they can't do that is that at the very end of the game, if the good guys do win, so let's have a hypothetical fast forward where after our first fail mission, we actually get 3 missions that are made up of good guys and the good guys win, then the assassin, remember that? The assassin player reveals themselves and gets 1 shot to guess who Merlin is. Who was the player who was continually foiling their plans? And if the assassin can name who Merlin is, the bad guys win. One final rule I'm going to tell you is that after a mission succeeds or fails, that king token is going to be passed clockwise once more. So the king will constantly be circling in and out of the hands of the minions of evil, which has predictably awful consequences because they're going to suggest teams with one of their friends on. And that's the Resistance Avalon. But we're not quite finished because there's a load of secret optional stuff. First things first, we're going to leave Sexy Lady Who Lives in a Pond later. Let's cover some of the other cool roles that you can play with in the Resistance. So first things first, and I would say that maybe play a quick game with the Resistance with just the basic rules so everyone gets the hang of it, because these cards can make the game go crazy. So first of all, Percival, and I'm not going to fully explain these characters, check the back of the manual if you do want to incorporate them, because you have to tweak that beginning part of the game with eyes closed and thumbs up and all that stuff. But Percival is a player on the good team who knows who Merlin is, and so can see who Merlin's accusing, try and accuse those players more and make himself appear like Merlin. He's got a very interesting role. If you're playing with Percival, you can have Morgana in the game, who's a member of the evil team who appears as Merlin to Percival. So when Percival opens his eyes, he's going to see 2 players with their thumbs up, one of whom he knows is definitely Merlin and one of whom is definitely evil, but he doesn't know which. We've got Mordred, a member of the evil team who does not put their thumb up. So Merlin never knows who they are. There's one loose cannon out there who Merlin can't trust. And finally, if you want to have a Laura fun, play with Oberon, a member of the evil team who has no idea who the other evil team members are, potentially creating awful situations where you send 2 people on a mission and both of them put in fail cards, eliminating themselves from the game. And finally, Sexy Lady in a Pond. The Lady of the Lake is a particularly interesting and very, very exhausting addition to the Resistance, but who is nonetheless pretty cool. So when you start the game, the way the Lady of the Lake works is you're going to have that king, and the player to the right of the king gets the Lady of the Lake. And at the end of rounds 2, 3, and 4, the Lady of the Lake power activates. That player sat to the right of the king gets to choose any one player around the table, give them the Lady of the Lake power, and tell them to ask... Wait, I've got this, oh my god, this goddamn game. Gets them to tell them whether they're on the good or evil team using these good and evil cards. The player who receives the Lady of the Lake card then has to select the card that shows whether they're on the good or evil team and then passes that card face down to the player who chose them with the Lady of the Lake token. So that player knows whether they're on the good or evil team, but of course nothing stops them from lying about what they saw on the card. Here's the kicker though, whoever you accuse has that Lady of the Lake card, which means the very next turn, at the end of the next mission, they can accuse someone and spread more dissent. Now I know what you're thinking, why not just use the Lady of the Lake to accuse someone who's previously been Lady of Lakes to double check whether someone is telling the truth, and then you know whether they're good and whether the person was lying. But the Lady of the Lake token can never go back to anyone who previously held it. Oh, it's a clever game. And that's the Resistance Avalon, an absolutely phenomenal game of bluffing and tension and lies and exhaustion. And it's not for everyone. We're never going to say it's for everyone. Some people find this game unbelievably intimidating. But if you and your friends think you would have fun with it, you are almost certainly right. This game is a bona fide classic if you're into bluffing. It's pretty cheap too, so yeah, why not just pick it up, treat yourself, invite some friends over, and have a phenomenal time lying to their face. Their faces. It'd be weird if all your friends only had one face.